Dozens of Alliance soldiers are killed or injured. 5 US and 4 British troops are badly hurt. Journalists find the 40-ton Afghan tank completely destroyed, along with its crew. Neither Perry nor Billingsley can find out what went wrong.
Bombs miss their target all the time. A spotter might call in the wrong coordinates. They might transmit the wrong coordinates. The pilot might enter in a different coordinate. The JDAM mechanism on the fin could actually go bad. There's all kinds of reasons a bomb can go bad. Some of them just miss.
But either way, a 2,000-pound bomb hit the wrong people.
The fallout is immense. Dostum's men view the Westerners' technology with trepidation.
After the 2,000-pound bomb went off, all the Northern Alliance that were in the walls, they left the fortress because I think they thought they were going to hit again. You know, that trust in American air power was gone for the moment.
Perry and Billingsley begin to sense that this battle will be fought by older methods, and that a truce is unlikely.
That was the part about the battle that I think was so grim, is that there wasn't going to be a surrender. The Northern Alliance didn't seem to be looking for it, and the Taliban, you know, probably they weren't going to ask for it.
At midnight, the skies above Kalajangi are ablaze once again. Despite the earlier mistake, the US Air Force launch another airstrike. From the safety of his hotel, 11 kilometers away, Perry watches the ammunition dump go up in a series of explosions.
And it is amazing. It's a firework display. It goes on for 2 or 3 hours, this thing just droning, circling, and then bada, 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 and then whoosh, boom. I'm staying in a guest house that's 7 miles away. My doors are blown in by the explosion.
The next morning, the journalists return to the fort. They are stunned by what they see.
And nothing's changed. It's extraordinary. We expected to basically see a smoking hole in the ground. The Alliance are gearing up for another attack, and the Taliban are still fighting, and we're back where we were. It's extraordinary.
The malfunctioning JDAM has spared the Taliban. Although they have lost hundreds of men and have little food or water, they refuse to surrender. Cold, starving, and dehydrated, some are still within the bowels of what had been their prison. Others continue to fight.
You could see Taliban guys every once in a while run between buildings. And everybody on the parapet would just open fire. There'd be like 40 guys shooting at one guy running from one house to the next. He wouldn't fly back like an action movie, he'd just crumple. You know, just crumple, and that was it.
Despite having barely escaped with his life, Arnim Stout returns. He films the arrival of more US Special Forces. They are not pleased to see him.
Go press. Turn the cameras off. Turn the cameras off.
They behaved like it was their home country.
Go!
Stout argues for his journalistic rights.
Go! You're not in the United States. You have no rights, no authority.
And it worked.
The Taliban retreat deeper into their basement, battered by the relentless assault. Northern Alliance troops move in. The journalists are right behind, anxious to get a rare look at close quarters warfare. What they see disturbs them.
A lot of war eventually has to be dirty hand-to-hand combat. You can't just press a button looking at a radar and think that, you know, it's problem over. You've got to get down there and kill people. You've got to get down there and look them in the eye as you're killing them.
There was a body in a ditch right next to us, and he was still breathing. But he was really messed up. And this Northern Alliance guy picked up a rock and threw it real hard on his head, like that was gonna kill him. And I was so frustrated. You know, I just blurted out, I said, you know, just shoot him.
There are about 200 bodies. Basically, we're just walking over bodies.
The journalists are overwhelmed by a sudden, eerie silence and the stench of death. About 40 meters away, beneath the pink building, a group of Taliban fighters prepare for a surprise attack.
These Taliban on the other side of the house, along the eastern wall, came running out and just laid down suppressive fire, just full automatic, onto the area we were at, all the Northern Alliance.
Suddenly, the journalists are on their own.
And we look around, and our guys are running up the parapet. They've left us.
And we're like, crap, we're the only people in this stupid southern courtyard, and we're the journalists.
And our guys are 40 yards away now and look to be pulling out their guns, and the whole thing's going to start again, and we're right in the middle.
We had no means of self-protection. All the Northern Alliance had to run back up onto the parapet.
So we just run.
With their cameras still rolling, the journalists bolt towards the trees for cover.
We run across this field of bodies, hurdling them, trying not to touch these things, in case they've all been rigged with grenades and they're going to explode. And we run a good 100 yards across these bodies and get out, and we're back onto the parapet again, and the gunfire starts again.
The Northern Alliance brings in another tank. For the rest of the afternoon, Perry and Billingsley watch as it blasts away at the southern compound. By twilight, all is quiet.
It seems like it's over. Everybody who is sort of above ground is dead. And the tank sort of makes sure of that.
Day 4, and Northern Alliance General Abdul Rashid Dostum arrives at the fort for the first time since the uprising began.
He is pissed off. His house has basically been shot up to pieces. He's furious about that.
For 3 days, the journalists have witnessed noisy, uncensored warfare at Kalajangi. Now, the fort resembles a giant morgue. Quiet and littered with bodies and human remains.
One of the Northern Alliance guys, we asked him how many Taliban he thought were left, and he said 1.5.
Later that day, the Red Cross arrive to begin identifying the bodies. They descend into the basement of the pink building, expecting nothing but corpses.
And then they realized that, hey, there's somebody downstairs still.
Dostum sort of shouts down to them and says, "Give yourself up or I'm going to kill you."
The exhausted Taliban are close to death. Still, they refuse to surrender. For a full 2 days, Perry and Billingsley watch in shocked disbelief as the Northern Alliance come up with a variety of methods to try and kill the surviving Taliban.
They try to shoot them out. They try to pour oil and light it on fire.
It doesn't work. You can see flames coming out. They've somehow managed to survive, but whatever's happening, they're not coming out.
They even fire some RPGs down into windows.